We need help.
Our target's name is Brixton. He's a ghost. We're gonna need the best trackers in the business. Luke Hobbs.
I'm what you call an ice-cold can of whoop-ass.
Career lawman. Always gets his guy.
So you're crushing it in this film, from this trailer, from what we've seen. One thing I know about the Fast and Furious franchise is every film, people say they get better and better and better. So is this the best one? How is this sort of similar to the franchise, and how is it separating itself?
Well, it's similar to the franchise in terms of we made sure that we wanted to make sure that there's still had the DNA of Fast and Furious movies, and the DNA of Fast and Furious movies, what I mean by that is it's a thing that fans have been really enjoyed over the years. Big action set pieces, defying gravity around every corner where you're like, wait, is that possible? What the Fast and Furious, it's cool.
The helicopter.
The helicopter
yes.
thing where I'm holding the helicopter. I can really do that
Can
now.
you really?
Well, it's me.
I'm believing it right now.
Right? Come on. Right?
Does this scare you at all? No, never mind.
You?
Yeah.
Scare wouldn't be the word. I would pay you a compliment. But yeah, so it was important that we paid homage to the spirit of Fast and Furious, but it was also important that we had our own identity and our own tapestry and our own kind of mosaic, and wanted to make sure that we created a movie that was fun and badass and cool and all these things for the fans, but also a little bit of a pivot. And the pivot was, yes, the stakes of the world are among us. And in these Fast and Furious movies, you gotta save the world, right? This is my 4th time saving the world. I'm pretty good at it.
You are really good at it.
Thank you very much. I'm kind of good because I can control a lot of the script. That's why I'm good.
And you're a producer on it, yeah.
I'm a producer. So I'm like, I will save the world again. But also making sure that we had this really cool chemistry that was like a biting chemistry between two individuals who audiences have grown to really like over the years in these movies, and myself and Jason Statham. And also had this kind of vintage throwback feel of movies like Lethal Weapon and Midnight Run and 48 Hours, movies like that from the 80s that were classic action movies. But then you come in with a great director like David Leitch, who of course directed John Wick, Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and he has a very stylistic approach to filmmaking and action sequences. So we worked our asses off for this. I always believe in a little bit of luck. And we launched that first trailer. People were like, this is bananas. We love this. Give me more. We launched the second trailer and it was like, holy shit. Did I just see The Rock hold a helicopter in midair and all this other craziness? And we're working on another trailer now. And then in the movie, of course, which eventually you will see and everybody will see, we deliver on all the things that were the goal to accomplish. And then there's some nice surprises in there too.
Shaw's sister took something from me.
How was it having Helen as your MUM?
So good.
I bet.
Yeah, because Vanessa Redgrave was in Mission Impossible, and
right.
like because I'm such a theatre girl, those women for me when I was growing up were like totally my icons in the theatre. So it's quite weird to be doing action movies and playing their daughter. But yeah, it was wonderful, and she was so fun.
And
she was
how
awesome.
is when you go from The Crown, where it's very emotional and there's not a lot of physicality to it. Is there a similarity between doing that and doing this? Is there some sort of core similarity, or does it feel completely different? And I know as an actress, people want to stretch themselves and do things they've never done before. Was there a common ground, or does it feel like something completely different?
I guess you apply the same process. I really wanted to make like a proper psychological journey, and I did loads of research on MI6 and like criminal families in London, and like, you know, did this whole backstory and everything, and so I almost tried to make the character like have vulnerabilities and an emotional journey as much as anything. It just felt that felt really important too, to try and bring that to it, so that it wasn't just a sort of, I mean, I don't know any women that are just solely just like, you know, either super emotional and vulnerable or
what are you
just
talking
strong
about?
and a bit, I know. Yeah, it's us, apart from us. But also like, you know, impenetrable. Like sometimes I've seen women in action movies who are like so invincible and sort of like cold in a way. And that also, I kind of wanted to try and like do all the things in the character so that it's, yeah, I don't know if I've done it though, we'll have to see.
Well, I've heard that you more than do it, that you're iconic, absolutely iconic in this film. I promise you, I'm not just saying that, I was just told that. Can't wait to see. Can't wait to see
Let's
it.
see if we can get in sync.
So you guys are being hunted by an army of mercenaries led by a genetically enhanced soldier.
Look at me. I'm Black Superman.
You're crazy.
One reason why these films resonate is because it balances really well the action with heart. Family is the word you heard a lot
Yes.
during Fast and Furious movies. So can you speak a little bit to that and sort of the heart of the film? What will
That's
the
what
heart
I
of this?
love about this
Yeah.
film. You know, it's a movie where it really, it's just exploring the obvious sort of like big bang, big explosion, big creations, but at the same time, it's sort of the consistent conversation of how the most important thing at the end of the day is family, and I think that we can all relate to that. We're all out there trying to do our thing, but the most important key thing to success is having value to what you have and paying an homage towards that. So I think that this franchise specifically and this expansion goes into so nicely because you have the dynamic between Vanessa and Shaw, which they're obviously brother and sister, and then you'll see a little bit more about Helen Mirren in it too, that kind of expands that world. And then you see DJ's character go into Hawaii and sort of expand into that world, and sort of like we will do, I think the consistent conversation is we would do anything for family. Family is first and foremost. And I thought that was beautiful, and in its own capacity, every character does the same throughout the film. So I think people are going to be really excited and just enjoy the movie. It's a fun movie as well. It comes up with a lot of comedy. They have incredible comedic timing, so it's
And that's
gonna
why
be
people
fun.
wanted there to be a spin-off. So you said you've been watching this since you were a kid.
Yes.
Do you remember the first one? Was it the first movie that you saw? And did you ever think, I'll be in that movie one
I
day?
never
Were you an
thought it.
actress at the time?
I mean, no. I was probably like, I won't say because they'll be so upset. I was really young
I hope
when
you
it
teased
came
Dwayne
out.
about that, though,
I
and
know.
said,
I
"Guess
was like,
what?
Guess
I
what? I
watched
was
you."
like a baby. I was younger than your daughter. No kidding. But I was really young when the first movie came out, and I do remember seeing Michelle Rodriguez and thinking, wow, she's so cool because there's this love story obviously happening, but she's also an identity of her own. And I thought that, you know, at the time it was very rare to find characters, especially when it came to Latina characters that kind of had their independent, self-made strength to its own. So I really was excited when they reached out to me and like, we would really want you to be in the movie. I could not believe it, and I'm excited, and hopefully I can become that for other girls and feel inspired that they could be one day here, because it's totally doable. It can happen. You know, it happened to me. I was coming from a different country. I was in Mexico. Like, it was completely an idea that could never really live in my head like a reality, and here we are. So
Hopefully there's a little girl watching somewhere that will be in Fast 25.
145. I hope that, I'm sure there will be that amount of Fast and
Probably.
Furious, because people
They
love
keep
that.
getting better.
Buckle up, fat blimp. On my 3. 1.
Woo! Hey, see the look on his face? You have no idea how long I've been waiting to do that.
So I need to know the haka ritual, because I know you perform it in the film. It was one of the best parts of this trailer was the haka ritual, the
Thank
fact that
you.
it was supposed to be in Samoa. So sort of just talk to me a little bit about that, first of all.
You know, thank you for saying that, and it's a great opportunity for me to correct. I'm not saying I'm going to correct you, but there's so many people who have said, oh, he's doing the haka in the movie. But in actuality, it's the Siva Tau. Now, the Siva Tau in Samoan is, in a way, you could say it's the Samoan version, if you will, of the haka, but they are two really distinct experiences. But still the same mana and the same spirit. So thank you for bringing that up.
How loud does it get?
It can get loud. Like there's a moment on set where we actually used it in the trailer. At that time, our director, nobody knew that I was going to say it, and it's a moment where I'm calling on my ancestors and my brothers, and I say, Zoia! And it's, from here, it's kind of guttural and from your gut, and that's when all my brothers come up and we start to see the Tau. So, and it's very emotional, by the way, just like with the haka, by the way, or any of these rituals I think that come from cultures where it is done out of pride and it's done out of survival and in this moment of war. And in this moment, there's a preamble in the movie that I do, and I speak in Samoan. I'm calling on my ancestors' strength, and I'm saying that this ground that you stand on has been nourished with my ancestors' blood, and today it's going to be nourished with yours.
Do you feel like this is the most personal movie you've ever done for that reason? Just
100%.
Really?
100%, the most personal movie that I've ever done. And, you know, and that's I think the fun irony of a movie like this, where it's Hobbs and Shaw, and it's a big, fun tentpole summer movie. But for the first time on the big screen in a tentpole global movie, the Samoan culture is being exposed and showcased, and it's such a cool thing. I'm half black and half Samoan, so to be able to showcase one of my cultures on screen was so incredibly meaningful to me. And for the whole movie, without giving it away, for the movie to descend upon this little island in the South Pacific where the fate of the world lies in this little island, it's just really beautiful and it's very personal.
And so speaking of rituals, because that is a ritual, you've done these films, they're so high adrenaline. If we were to see you in your trailer like moments before you go on set, do you have a ritual or something you do to get yourself jacked up before doing these like high... Wait,
like for moments like that?
Just for the energy scenes, for the action and those types of scenes.
Usually I turn up my music really loud. So there's two parts of it. I turn up my music really loud, and I'll find something that whatever's going to move me. It might be a hip hop song, it might be an orchestral song. I don't know, like whatever can move me. And then I usually shut it all down and get really, really quiet, and I have my chat with the universe and just say thank you for this opportunity, and please grant me with the strength and grant me with the ability to connect, and here we go. Mama, where's all our guns?
I can't read of them. Very noble, Mrs. Hobbs. We are in serious trouble.
That's an understatement.
Let's get old school.
You're playing Jason's sister, and there has to be a bonding process where you feel like family in a sense. You're grinning. I feel like you're thinking of something.
I'm trying to think of like what specific moment landed. No, let me think. Well, there was like times when we were like cramped, like we all had to cram into this McLaren. So bear in mind, you've got Dwayne, who's massive, and like Jason next to me, who's driving, and like me in the middle. There was one time actually when, we were super like pressed up. I was like, hi guys, nice to meet you. But there was also a time when Jason was driving and I was having to shoot, right? And I panicked, and as I was like shooting whatever, like by mistake I went like that while he was driving. It smacked him in the nose as he was driving. He was like, "You're not meant to do that. You're not meant to like. You don't cross like with the gun, like you don't cross the fire towards someone else that's doing it." So I'm like really bad with the gun. I learned that, like just wouldn't ever.
But you seem to, because you have a twinkle in your eye when you talk about shooting guns. I feel like
I know, right?
It's got to be
quite
fun.
satisfying. Although like you don't only once did I fire one in the movie because you're just pretending, and like they're all electric rounds anyway.
I would go. I would make the sound.
Yeah, no. There was one time Idris, who's like I just adored. There was one time when he was doing this sequence and me and him were fighting a bit. And he kept going, yeah, I was like, wait a minute, are you making sounds of the fight while you're doing it? He was like, oh my God, I didn't even realise. The whole time it was like, bang, I'll do all this stuff. It's really hard not to do that.
So this is a new character. We don't know a lot about your character.
Yes.
So tell me what you can. And is this possible to setting up a whole new universe, like the Hobbs and Shaw universe? Is this something that continues?
Maybe.
Okay.
I can't say that, but maybe. You know, I think that if the fans love it, it all depends on them. And I am just so grateful to be part of this. It's just really exciting. You know, I grew up watching the Fast and Furious films.
Did you?
So now being part of, also for me it was very special to create this character of a Latina in this franchise because I do know that a big following of this franchise is Latino. It's the Latino community, so it's incredible for me to be part of it because I feel like I'm contributing to prolong more opportunity for us. But yeah, Madame M, she's a total badass. She knows what she wants. She's driven. She's independent. She's strong. I love that she's a character who is not a damsel in distress in any capacity. And by the way, I will say Vanessa Kirby is absolutely incredible in this film.
She's amazing.
And she will be so inspiring for future other films to create equally badass characters of her because she's not trying to be tough. She is just who she is, who's a real woman with, as we can relate, real emotional issues and problems, but not trying to overplay play that. So, and at the same time, she's a complete badass. So Madame M is the version of that as well, but in a darker sense. You'll see throughout what she gives back to the boys and how she's completely needed by them. How they completely need her to kind of continue their mission. So she's really cool, and I mean, I'm excited for people to see her in action.
The only way we survive is working together, like a team.
Let's do this.
You're joining this massive franchise, and you're a newbie. Was there a ritual? Did Dwayne was there an initiation? Did anything, or was it just like guns blazing, day one, we're just getting into it?
Day one. Day one started with, I was most in awe of David, just because having to learn like to fight at that level with him and like Greg, this most amazing.
Yes.
Oh my God,
who's done so many amazing action
I know,
films.
and he's also like the nicest man on earth, so you feel really bad if like you're not doing it that well. And he's like, come on! I'm like, yes! And then like do it really badly. But yeah.
It was very good.
Oh, was that good?
Yeah.
Just that? Did that scare you? Yeah, he was like, make loads of noise. I was like, oh, sorry, I think I forgot to breathe during that. But the first shot was, I was doing a play at the time, and so I was knackered. I just finished after a 6-month run. And it was a Sunday morning, and I had the only shot in the movie where it's all one take of a stunt. So like they can slice it up mostly, and I was in full-blown like MI6 gear, like goggles, helmet, massive like weapons everywhere, like really like, oof. And I had to take loads of guys out and then do a flip roll and end up on my knees like that in front of the camera. And it was like my first day, and I hardly had any time to practice because I was doing the play. It was awful. I was so embarrassed and like really hot and flustered and very sweaty, and I had to do it again and again and again and again. Every time I flipped like a crab. I didn't look cool. It was just, everyone was sort of like flustered and no one knew each other. It was like, that was my initiation.
That's a breaking the ice moment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of just answered it, but what was the thing that you got to do in this film that you've never gotten to do before as an actress? I mean, I know you did Mission Impossible and there's a lot of action there, but this seems like the ante is just that much higher. Yeah.
I know. It's like a David Leitch movie, really, in that sense. It's like, it's a spin-off of, you know, obviously something that so many people love, but it's very much like his amazing sort of expression, I guess. And in that sense, it was like, for me, the fights were the thing that I was just so excited to do, just because I think also like challenging myself is something I'm really not naturally, like I was the worst at sports day, you know, always last in the running race, never wanted to do it, always like quite crap at sports generally. And so the idea of like, I don't know, trying to convince people that I'm like as strong a fighter as anyone, you know, it was like a big challenge.
That's amazing to me, because having watched you do action before, you sell it so incredibly.
What, in that one stunt in Mission, you mean?
Yes.
I was so nervous I was going to let Tom Cruise down that I don't know, just somehow managed to pull white.
So did I read that when you saw this character on paper, you said she was the fiercest character you had ever read before? What does a Fast and Furious script look like? Because there's so much action, and what sort of does it look like on the page?
Well, it changed all the time, so it wasn't really like it was kind of evolving all the time depending on lots of different factors. I mean, like the first time you really see her, she beats up Dwayne. She beats up Dwayne. Dwayne does the character. And for me, it felt like if I can really take care of this character, I feel like it's so important in whatever genre it is. You know, obviously it's like extremely different to the things that I'd done before, and I just felt like it was really crucial to create a character and a woman that was utterly equal, you know. And it's unfortunately it's been rare in the past to see that. There's a lot of like male-heavy franchises and a lot of male-heavy action. It just felt really crucial to really build a character in this who, for me, I felt like little girls could walk out the cinema and feel like I can be her, and she is as strong as him.
So just to close things out, you talk about saving the world 4 times.
I know.
Everybody wants to know if you're going into space ever. Are Hobbs and Shaw ever going into outer space? What is the final frontier? Will you save the universe? What is beyond eventually?
The final frontier for Hobbs and Shaw. I think, you know, when you think about growth, which is what I wanted to do with just the universe itself, you want to build out. So you build out, you start with Hobbs and Shaw. And if we're thinking about building out from Hobbs and Shaw, you save the world, then what's next? The universe, then the galaxy, right? Then it's like, come and watch Hobbs.
No Shaw.
Oh, Shaw? Yeah,
Spoiler
sure.
alert.
Yeah, no, right. He dies Just saying.
We won't tell anybody. Nobody's watching, right?